Good day to everyone. This is Rafiqul Islam, a student of Master 2020 and 2023 batch. So today I'm here standing for present my presentation. I will discuss on the civilization versus savagery in the novel Lord of the Flies by William Golding. So let's get started. So here is my opening statement where I have included the main point. I mean the novel. A brief about novel. This novel basically really a compelling tale that vividly portrays the constant conflict between human nature and the savagery. Though its characters symbolize and events, the novel explores the fragile nature of social order and the present primal instincts within humans being. Today, we'll examine how this theme unfolds throughout the story. Next slide, please. Here is the introduction. In my introduction, I have included the key idea, what I'm going to present in this presentation. There is civilization. Civilization represents order, morality, structure, and rationality. Now there is savagery, embodies chaos, violence, and primal instincts driven by interest rather than reason. Now, let's talk about the civilization in this novel. Basically, there are two types of characters that represent civilization. First of all, there are human characters and some inhuman characters that represents the civilization. So there are human characters. First, Ralph. Ralph is one of the very prominent character in this novel who represents civilization through his characteristic idealism. He represents leadership, order, and cooperation. We know in the novel the role of Ralph. He is the person who actually leads the boys to create such a society where democracy actually appear. Then there is another person who is Piggy. Piggy. Piggy also a human character who represents civilization. Piggy basically a character who represents intellectuality, reason, and scientific thought. We know in the character in the novel, Piggy is the first person who actually invents conch shell, and he also tells Ralph to unite the boys using conch shell. That represents that in a human society, if we really want to live in a democratic society, then of course there should have a way or a structure where people will follow certain rules and regulation, and there will be a leader and other person as well. So Piggy is the first person who actually tells this uh, to the Ralph, and he also represents scientific technology. He also symbolizes innovation and rationality. Why? Because whenever his glass is used to create fire, there is another. Let's talk about the inhuman things that is represented in the novel that also reflects the idea of civilization. There is constitution. Constitution represents democracy, authority, and a structured discussion. Why I'm talking this? Because whoever holds the constitution, he will lead the boys. So this is something. Just this is something also a symbol that creates civilization. Now let's talk about the savagery in the novel. There is also two types of characters. I mean that represents savagery, human characters as well as inhuman characters. First of all, there is Jack. Jack is also another prominent character of this novel who represents inhuman. I mean savagery basically because of his different types of activities. So Jack embodies the primal instincts, obsession with power and violence, uses fear to the base to control others. He basically uses some types of characteristic that create fear into the boys, and he also influences the boys to be a savage. To act like savagery because he leads the boys he also, he influences the boys to to hunt And then whenever they find some really interest in hunting, then the boys actually follow Jack. So this is the way he influences the boys to turns into savagery. Then here there is also inhuman characters that also represents savagery in the novel. There is hunters. I mean, a hunters. There is a scenario we can see in the novel that is hunter. So it is basically a collective descent into chaos and violence, face open liberties, theory from social guilt and accountability. There is also symbol of savagery that also, I mean, there is also a symbol that represents savagery in the novel. We can see the beast. There is a beast scenario that represents the savagery. I mean, it represents the primal fear and darkness within the human. I mean, the image of beast that the boys find in their mind that creates to become their a savage. Like whenever Simon actually come to the point, Simon back to the group, they find him. I mean, they think that Simon is just a beast because the savagery, I mean, the fearness are already in their mind. That is why they have found it Simon as a beast and they kill him. So now there is some key symbols that reflects the idea of savagery and civilization. The conch shell, there is pig's glasses, the signal fire, and the face paint. Face paint is really important. This is because face paint it reflects face paint reflects the idea of turning into savagery. Whenever the boys uh, create themselves in, I mean, like a inhuman face, I mean, they just next slide, please. So there is turning point, formation of order, Jack's first kill, Simon's death, Piggy's death, and constant discussion, the hunting for Ralph. These are all the representation of savagery and civilization. So next slide, please. So closing statement of my presentation now. This is basically one of the really greatest novel of William Golding that reflects the idea of civilization and savagery that we can see in human nature, which is represented nicely in his novel. Yes. So, do you have any question?
I have a question like, you find any type of similarities of our current situation in Bangladesh and the situation we in our
I mean, the current situation of Bangladesh. Yes. Yes, I do find because I mean the civil. First of all, there are. I mean, recently there was a movement from the students, and then there was a chaotic situation all over the country. However, in on point, the students they have decided to create such kind of leader. I mean, they have just followed a strategic way, and they have made some leader, and that leader they are just leading our country right this moment because we have just they have decided to make them a leader. And in our novel, we also see, first of all, the voice is just in an evacuated situation. They do not find anyone. They are not united. But whenever they find counsel, they just create a democratic society that whoever holds the council, they will lead us. So thus I can say that there is similarities between this novel and the current situation of Bangladesh.
in Myanmar, we see the first leaders run as the leader of the world. After a few days, they actually didn't follow up. They were more willing to follow Jack than Ram.
Yes.
So, do you think that we are going to such situation? We are going to follow any Ram or any savage or any auto-French leader in near future?
Okay. I got your question. So in the novel, first of all, the student, I mean, the boys follow Ralph, but unfortunately, they also follow Jack at the end of the novel. In our current situation, if I compare these two, I will say, uh, I mean, in this, I mean, the way in the novel that they have presented, but and the current situation of Bangladesh, in such kind of view, similar, but not at all, because the current situation of Bangladesh, of course, there are some chaotic situation. At the same time, whenever there is a discussion, they are just coming out of a solution. So I think there will not be an autocratic government as the voice, I mean, as the people support them. So that's my point of view because I mean, whenever you have support, then you cannot be the autocrat.
What do you think? What is the basic thing between those boys in the island and the people of Bangladesh? Why their future choice will not be the same according to you?
Future will not be the same. Okay. Yes. This is because the students, most of the time we are talking about the students because they are the young generation and they are educated person. So they will raise their voice whenever there will be injustice. Even the students, they are also raising their voice whenever there is something injustice that is going on or that is not justified. So they are not just following blindly to the leader I mean whom they have selected. So they are also raising voice against their in this I mean the decision making that's going to wrong or against the society. So that is why I think their situation will not be the same because in the novel, boys actually followed Jack blindly, but students of Bangladesh they are not following the leader blindly as our previous situation was.
The boys follow their blindly. Why do they follow?
This is because Jack basically influences them and he gave them entertainment and he also influenced the boys that if you come, I mean, he just gave them some sorts of entertainment by hunting and the boys got fairness and he also gave them a very important thing, freedom. You will get freedom. You will get freedom. So that's the point. Boys actually followed Jack because in our human nature, we really want freedom in everywhere. So that freedom was given by Jack. But sometimes we need to realize where should we actually utilize freedom or why we should actually utilize where we shouldn't actually utilize freedom.
Okay, okay. The next one.